All right. On Monday, I went on a bit of a rant about hemp and the lies that get told sometimes in an attempt to be greedy and to do something that gives somebody a favorable position, and they're willing to sacrifice a product or a plant in order to get a favorable financial position. And that was kind of my rant on Monday. But a lot of things have happened since Monday. A lot of really cool things have happened since Monday. Something I never thought I would live long enough to have happen. And I mentioned on Monday that my journey advocating for the production of industrial hemp in the United States began back in 1995, 96, somewhere along in there. It was that school year of 95, 96. And then I saw it as a very viable product. I saw it as something that we were missing, something that had been missing from our agricultural community for about 70 years. And I felt like it was time that we did something to change that. And not quite 70 years, maybe 60 years. And I felt like it was some time that we did something to change that. And so I began writing letters. I began a campaign to try to get the attention of lawmakers and others who would pay attention to me. And let me talk about the value of hemp. Hello, Edna. Thank you for joining me. And let me talk about the value of hemp for a little bit and make a distinction between it and marijuana. And for more than 10 years, that fell on deaf ears. Nobody would pay attention to me. And then we began to see a little light at the end of the tunnel. And then there were just a little bit of attention, then just a little bit, in spite of the fact that the lawmakers and legislators would not pay attention to me, but others were paying attention. And I thought, well, let's get some value to this. And so continued that process until 2014. In 2014, there was the passing of the Farm Bill, which allowed on pilot farms a project of raising industrial hemp under certain regulations. And that was amazing. It was amazing. It's like, wait a minute, this might actually happen. And yesterday, I watched with great interest for several hours. It was playing in the background. I was listening carefully to everything that was said. I was listening for something in particular. As I listened to the congressional conference, which is a joint bipartisan conference that has both parties and both houses in Congress together to try to pass an appropriations bill, which is the Farm Bill for this year. And what I saw happen there was, I really never thought I'd live long enough to see. Nobody spoke in opposition to hemp. No one. I can remember 10 years ago, and I can show you the letters that I got where everybody was opposed to it. And now I saw yesterday hours of conversation, hours of our lawmakers talking back and forth, and nobody spoke out in opposition to raising the production of industrial hemp. I was just shocked. I was in awe of that. I thought I'd never live long enough to see that happen, and I did. It happened yesterday. Pretty amazing stuff. I want to give you a couple of things from Mitch McConnell. He said that we've reached a point where there's a national consensus that the production of industrial hemp deserves a comeback. Yeah, that's what I've been saying for 20 years. For 20 years, that's been the theme that I've had for 20 years, and finally we're seeing lawmakers make that same kind of statement. And he said this, and I thought this was really good. I've been talking about this for 20 years. The confusion with its more controversial cousin has been largely eliminated. The confusion with its controversial cousin has been largely eliminated. It's about time. It's about time. As I said on Monday, if you can't tell the difference between a tree and a bush, then you don't have any business being in law enforcement. You know, that kind of makes sense to me. But I want to share a couple of things from a legal opinion that I have that I think will help you. But before I do that, I want to state this about the state of our farm and the reason why the Farm Bill is so important and the passing of that Farm Bill is so important. The numbers that were given yesterday is that this year farm incomes will decline by 13%. That's the 5th year in a row. And you add those 5 years up, we're looking at farm income half what it used to be, half what it was 5 years ago. That's a scary place to be. As a country, when we depend upon agriculture, that's a scary place to be. So the passing of this bill is extremely important. And one of the provisions in that bill is to permanently remove forever any prohibition to raising industrial hemp. Hemp used to be the largest cash crop in America. We used to export it to other countries, and we now import over $800 million worth of product into America every day. Or every year. I'm sorry, not every day, every year. High time that we were able to do that in our own country. The statistics shown is that by 2020, the hemp industry will be a multi-billion-dollar industry in the United States alone. Now, we're either going to raise it or we're going to import it. Raise it or import it. I think it's time that we started raising it here. If there's a multi-billion-dollar market for it, then let's do something about it. The thing that's holding up the Farm Bill is this, and I'll explain to you what this is real quickly in one sentence. The SNAP program, which provides supplemental nutritional assistance program, which provides a food benefit to people who need it. If we can put people back to work, if we can increase the farm, if we can increase, are you getting the picture here? If we can increase the farm income instead of having it decrease by 13% this year, then we might solve both problems at the same time. All right, now I'm not so naive to believe that we're going to be able to eliminate the need for a SNAP program. That's not what I'm saying. But let's don't let that kind of a thing keep us from being able to do the right thing. And that's my point that I'm trying to make. So I'm trying to share with you just a little bit about the Farm Bill, but I want to say that part of the reason for the rant on Monday was this. This is a legal opinion that I have, and this is from this legal opinion I had from last fall. And so I dug this out and I shared it with some folks, and it says this. Misinformation about the legality of hemp-derived CBD products has been spreading throughout the industry and social media. Yeah. A drug policy expert at a leading national think tank has opined that all CBD products are illegal, but he was wrong. And I'll tell you how in just a moment. A few companies that sell imported CBD oils in the United States have been warning retail stores and customers that most CBD oil products are illegal. Again, they were doing that for financial gain. They were not doing it because they were in the best interest of the industry. They were doing it because they wanted financial gain. It's wrong. The legal opinion by this law firm says, please be warned that these blanket statements are not justified. It goes on to say that the DEA, then this is a quote from the head of the DEA, head spokesperson for the DEA says this: DEA's primary concern is addressing the opioid crisis that is affecting the United States. CBD oil and hemp plant enforcement are not where the DEA is going to prioritize its resources. Yeah. Goes on to say, and this is the legal opinion here, and this is referring to the Industrial Hemp Farming Act. It's referring to this. Let me get this right, because I want to make sure I've got this correct so that you can follow this. Federal laws which might otherwise restrict, regulate, or prohibit the use or production of industrial hemp, including those on the Controlled Substance Act, do not apply. Do not apply to the farms that are in the pilot program. Okay, I mentioned that on Monday. If you are working with a provider or a supplier that has a certified farm, they can't prohibit you from selling the product. That would be ridiculous. How do you test the viability of a market if you won't let people sell it? That's how you test the viability of a market. Goes on to say this. The Consolidated Appropriations Act for fiscal year 2016 prohibits agencies, including the DEA, from expending federally appropriated monies to interfere with or otherwise frustrate agricultural pilot programs established under the Farm Bill. There you go. If it's grown here, the only way we can find out how viable is the product is to allow it to be sold here. One more. The Ninth District Court has ordered the DEA, has enjoined the DEA or stopped them from engaging in enforcement actions against these products. Never overturned, the ruling remains good federal law and legal authority for distributing hemp-derived products. In other words, the DEA has been prohibited by a court order from stopping the production or the sale of the products. These authorities legitimize industrial hemp and derived products such as hemp-derived CBD and immobilize, I love that phrase, immobilize federal agencies that might otherwise pursue enforcement. That's good stuff. If you need help with that, I've got it right here in my hand. I'll be glad to share it with you. The final comment by this legal opinion is this: we encourage you not to accept as fact any blanket statements about the legality or illegality of hemp and CBD products, particularly those that are made in a self-interest commercial mode. That was my rant on Monday. So, we may, by the end of this month, see a permanent lift, a permanent removal of the ban from the production of industrial hemp in the United States. I didn't think I'd live long enough. I really didn't. And I'm so excited about that I can hardly contain myself to think that by the end of this month, we may be in a position where that prohibition is a thing of the past. All right? That's pretty exciting stuff. I have no commercial interest at this point. I don't. I just want to share the information because I believe that it's vital. I see this as a way to revitalize certain agricultural communities, and I grew up that way. And because I grew up that way, I long for the ability to be able to resurrect that. And I see that this is a possibility of that. I see it as being a way to provide health and benefit to people who desperately need it. I see it as a way to provide a source of income for people who are struggling. I can't think of anything that's more valuable than this. And yesterday, to watch people on both sides of the aisle, Democrat and Republican both, in Congress, who holds the purse strings, and in the Senate, who makes the decisions, I saw them all agree about one thing. It's the one thing that I always thought would be able to pull us together. And I watched it happen yesterday. And I was really excited about that. I was really excited about that. All right, that's my update. As we move from this point forward, I'll be sure and share with you and keep you updated on what's going on with the Farm Bill that's being considered right now. Has to be in place by the end of the month. And one of the major provisions is a permanent removal of the ban on industrial hemp. Thank you for joining me. I look forward to talking to you soon.